Of the Beefy Boys breakdown. I am so excited. We're coming to you live on YouTube from our computers. No more cell phones, man. No more Facebook bullshit. No more Zuck the Cuck. We're coming to you straight, raw, mainlined into YouTube. And I am so excited for this new era of the Beefy Boys breakdown. More equipment upgrades coming soon, but right now we know we're officially launching the new era, the new format, the new tech, and I'm excited for it, brother.
Me too, man. I'm just here to mainline some UFC in my veins. You know what I mean?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I got you. Sorry, Mike was on mute just for the intro. But yeah, we're here to mainline some UFC into these arms. You know what I mean? And hopefully yours at home too, which I hope does not promote drug use. Don't do that.
Fendel's out here bad, bro. You can't be doing that.
Program's not made for kids. It is tagged as such, so I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it. But yeah, man, breaking down the prelims, starting off with the prelims, as we do here on the breakdown. If you're unfamiliar with the podcast, we cover each and every fight, each and every card. Most of these shows out here going over just the big names and everything. We do the deep dive. We're bringing you the prospects, the prelims, and that's what we're starting off here is the prelims for Sandhagen versus Song, Sandhagen versus Yadong, however you want to name it, structure it, But, man, without further ado, man, we're jerking the curtain here with Cameron Van Camp coming in at plus 130, Nicholas Mota coming in at minus 150 in the lightweight division. Without giving anything away, my pick was Cameron Van Camp. Really, from a betting perspective, I thought it was pretty 50-50 on paper, so it's like I was just rolling with the plus money. I didn't think too hard into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not mad at that, man. And honestly, this was a good. Bro, I just keep muting my mic. I'm sorry. I'll figure it out. I'll get used to it. Sorry, guys.
We're getting used to it. Yeah, no, it's all good. We're getting used to this new setup. It's totally fine. But you can hear what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It also looks like my mic is not actually picking up your sound, which I was just worried about. But I can tell from the little icon. Shout out to Zoom, by the way. Zoom making this possible for us. Yeah, I guess we'll give them credit. I don't know. They helped through the pandemic. You all know what it is. It doesn't look like it's picking you up, though, so the integrated audio is working. Once again, mainlining this UFC. But
yeah, small wins, man.
Yeah, man, to your point, I didn't know shit about this fight. I'll be honest, typically I like to, say, no, I know what we're talking about here, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really know much about this fight. And, you had sent me the Van Camp, at least the message that you liked him or whatever it was, or I think you might have picked him on one, maybe not.
Yeah, I did. No, I did. I put him on a parlay. Like I said, I didn't think too much into it. It was kind of every week I do kind of one long shot parlay, and I like the plus 130. And it was a pretty close fight on paper. Both guys had really kind of similar resumes and backgrounds and credentials. You know what I mean?
I thought his height and his length were going to play a big factor in it, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? He did have a good reach advantage. He was a lot taller. Now, that being said, both guys really were in a striking battle in the first round, which, once again, you would think would help Van Camp. But this guy can't not hang his chin in the air. He literally was putting it on a platter every time he threw a left or a right. And Moto was throwing lefts from straight hell.
Yeah, for sure, man. Van Camp, you can tell he was trying to use that jab. You can tell he was trying to use it on the outside. And then as soon as they started grappling, you can see why he wanted to, stay far away from the grasp of Mota, because Mota was able, once he got to the ground, with the ground and pound, Mota was just able to finish him off. Now, he didn't take him down. He dropped him with the 1-2, but then, I don't know, once it was on the ground, I feel like Mota was kind of more in his element and was able to get the finish. He went for the finish.
Yeah, exactly right, man. And I think at the end of the day, it was one of those things where, the longer you watched that fight, the more you understood that, this guy can't just keep eating lefts over the top. At one point, one of these lefts is going to hurt you, and if you don't have the response or the proper striking defense, then you just can't. How do you win that fight? There's no way.
Yeah, for sure, man. Mota, coming more with the power. Van Camp trying to, jab around, and he just couldn't withstand the power of Mota. The jab wasn't effective enough at keeping him off of him. And Mota gets the win, minus 150. So Vegas had him as a small favorite. And Mota gets the win. Your boy's parlay takes the L. And we can, I guess, keep it pushing, man, to the bantamweights. We love bantamweights here on the Beefy Boys breakdown. We love talking about them. We love breaking them down. It's one of our favorite divisions to like project in and play matchmaker in, because there's so many names. It's so deep. There's so many kind of can't miss matchups, and also fun stylistic matchups that we just love talking bantamweights here on the Beefy Boys breakdown. And we got a couple good ones coming up, man. We got Tony Gravely plus 145 fighting Javed Basharat minus 170. As I just mentioned, on the bantamweight division. And man, this fight was kind of tough to pick because actually, I don't know if you watched this most recent Contender Series, but Basharat's younger brother won a contract on the most recent Contender Series episode. And call it hokey or corny or whatever, but I kind of did feel like those good vibes. Like, I feel like that was good. Like, and the brothers in town, and like I don't know, I just felt like I really did like that. Like, because on paper, these guys, it's the classic like veteran versus prospect matchup. I think Basharat was 12-0 coming into this one. Gravely, with the a lot more fights, a lot more experience, has faced higher level competition, but in that taking some L's. So it was really hard to kind of project this one. So in a fight that's kind of so close on paper, like I said, call it silly if you want to. I really did think that Basharat's brother winning earlier this week, being in town, the vibes rolling, feeling good. Hey, like say what you want to about it. I think on a fight that was kind of so evenly matched, you're looking for a reason to pick one guy or another. That was definitely like leaning me towards Basharat.
Yeah, for me, this was a horribly hard fight to call just based on skill sets, the way each guy fights. Wow, you can really tell how misshapen my nose is. Shout out.
Yeah, we both the crooked nose boys on this podcast.
Hey, crooked nose, Beefy Boys. But for me, man, this was a super hard fight to pick because the Basharat brothers talk big, back it up, look really technically sound, but I like Tony Gravely. And I've seen Tony Gravely in the UFC. You know what I mean? And this is a fact we haven't crossed yet. 13 Dana White Contender Series fighters on the card last night. I mean, hey, Dana White, why don't you just put it in our face more? How many times did they tell us how many DWCS guys there were?
Yeah, I don't hate it, though, because here's why. It's almost like a minor league system. I don't know. It's like a feeder league. It's like we all know where these guys are coming from. We may have seen it. It reminds me of either a college football or a minor league baseball. Like, instead of having all these regional kind of promotions, like how do you judge like a Brave belt versus a CFFC belt versus an LFA belt? And it's like, or like it's so regional. It's like I don't really know what to do with that information. But like, if a guy wins his Contender Series fight, as a fan, that tells me something, that like he has faced what's perceived to be UFC level competition. Now, what I mean, with these other promotions, and there's so many of them, it's like I don't really know. My brain doesn't know how to like juxtapose these like other organizations, but my brain, for right or wrong, maybe it's all marketing, I don't know, but it's like my brain seems to know what to do with the Dana White Contender Series like on the resume. You know what I mean? I know how to like factor that in. I don't know if you feel similar.
I do for some. Well, it's weird, right? Because like when I know who the UFC fighter is before they're on the Contender Series, then I definitely like Bo Nickel. Like,
yeah, Bo Nickel. I mean, he's the dimer. But like, see, that's what I was saying in college football, because Bo Nickel's like the 5-star that like that was in the like I don't know, that we've heard of even in high school.
Yeah.
And then some other guys come out of the smaller schools. But I feel it was definitely a Dana White Contender Series showcase card. Man, speaking of, man, like I mean, I think the Basharat brothers are going to be some of the better guys to come out of the Contender Series. Like I'm kind of buying in on this hype.
I agree with that, though. I agree with that. Because, like, they're
so well-rounded.
They both look so well-rounded.
And, like, and it's not just well-rounded, because a lot of guys are well-rounded, but, like, the ability to put it all together, to mix it up, to incorporate and blend it all so beautifully is really, impressive. I think that was the story of this fight, man, was just Gravely was, like, kind of coming, like, he was boxing. Okay, now he's wrestling. Okay, now he's boxing again, but he wasn't able to like make. I mean, Basharat was throwing head kicks and following it up with takedowns, and then mixing the kicks to all 3 levels, and the elbows and the takedowns, and I mean, he was mixing it up all so nicely, and it was just like Gravely. He never quit. he never really stopped having brief moments of success. Like I had Gravely winning or losing every round. However,
really,
in every yeah, man.
you had him losing the first.
I know I have the words close in all caps, but I did give it to Basharat. Basharat said he was just mixing. I like the kicks. He got taken down, but would get up like immediately, and then he got his own takedown.
He got his own takedown. That was big. That made it a lot closer for me. I did write very close round. I leaned to Gravely in that one. I even put in my notes. I can see the case for Basharat there. Which
yeah,
I think
I can see the case for Gravely there. I mean, in all fairness, so
now,
it was a close round.
Rounds 2 and 3, I think that delineation becomes a lot less, right, or a lot more, right? Like it's very clear that Basharat is starting to take over the longer the fight goes.
In every position too. That's what was so impressive, man. Basharat was winning the positions, and then he was winning the in-betweens of the positions and the scrambles, the wrestling, the grappling, the striking, the in-between, the clinch. I mean, Basharat was just like one. Seriously though, what? Like it was impressive, man. I think the hype is real, and I mean, his brother fights and looks identical to him. Like I know it's so hard to they're separate, and you can't always give one brother's, but they look and fight so similar that it's like if it's working for Javid, and I forget the younger brother's name, but it's hard to imagine that it's not going to work for him.
Right, I agree with you. Now, I do have a question for you. So, the judges did score rounds 2 and 3 for Basharat. It was a unanimous 29-28. They all scored the first round for Gravely.
Okay, so I'm not here alone. You know, that's fine. That's fine.
Alone.
I like Basharat's work.
Alone, but not out on an island. You know what I mean? Like you might be on the peninsula, but it's not an island.
For sure. Man, Gravely showed chin. He showed heart. I mean, he showed. Like I said, I think he showed skills. It was just his inability to blend those skills, right? Like he was very
he was one-dimensional in every phase. Every time he tried to attack, it was like a very directed attack that Basharat would usually counter and have his own moves, and he was mixing the martial arts a lot better. I think that's the name of the game, right?
And and he's built perfectly for the division, right? He's longer. I mean, the skill set. It's hard not to get excited, man. It's hard not to.
Now, let me ask you, do you think that the brothers stay the same weight and climb together, or do you think eventually they split and one goes bigger and one goes a little smaller?
You know what? I think they'll stick with it until they until it just doesn't work. I mean, hell, Merab and Aljamain have been able to kind of go with it this long. I don't see why they couldn't. I feel you. I think it's one of those things where they'll probably cross that bridge when they get to it. If it becomes an issue, it's an extremely good problem to have, right? That means one of them's champion, essentially, right? So
it means you're both top 5.
Yeah. So I mean, I imagine it won't be too big of an issue. It will get real interesting. They're both pretty young. You typically get bigger with age. So I think if that does come, it'll be far enough down the road where it'll probably be up, not down. Now, if they have to change sooner, they're both pretty goddamn skinny. I mean, they'd be tall for flyweight, but I mean, it's hard to imagine. They don't look like featherweights right now.
Yeah, no, I think it's featherweight and bantamweight. I don't. That's like a Davison Figueiredo thing. I don't think they make 25. If they do, there's no longevity in that weight class.
Well, and I think they get manhandled at 45, because they're slender, man.
I don't know. They're technically very good wrestlers, though, which we talk about all the time in featherweight. You have to be a good wrestler to exist in that division.
And bantamweight we talk about as more of a striking. But that's why I think they're going to find success, man, because of they can match up well with almost anybody.
Also, what a great card to be a bantamweight on when you have Song Yadong and Corey Sandhagen as your main event, man. I mean, anyone that's concerned with the bantamweight division is watching this card.
The division's being highlighted, talked about, the rankings, for sure, man. And on that note, we'll keep it pushing.
I do have one in between while we're on bantamweights.
For sure,
Did you see who got cut today?
Well, is that how we're gonna phrase it? Are we just going full just dunk on? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, fuck it, I am. Yeah.
I mean, you mean the guy that retired today?
Jose Aldo.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Retired, man. I mean, I'm gonna retire. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. I don't think the UFC just said fuck off.
Yeah,
they would have
agreed. He is too much of a legend for them to ever just cut like that, especially after losing to Merab. It's not like a low tier opponent that you get cut for. But I think it was like a
that fight did suck though.
I think it was like a behind closed doors, like, hey, if these are the fights you're gonna give us, and this isn't even a top 3 guy, I don't know what else you're gonna do here, man. Like, you're not gonna be fighting for titles for a while. And I think to Jose Aldo,
I think it was the other way around. I'm the kind of side with Aldo here. I think it was more of like Aldo just being honest with himself and seeing where he stacks up in the division. And he set it up for years now that if I'm not chasing a belt, it's over. Kind of like Cruz has been saying the same thing. And he's kind of no longer. I mean, it would take what 3-4 more wins for Aldo in a row.
He'd need 3 really good wins, and it's all horribly tough opponents.
Exactly. I think he just kept it real with himself, was honest. Is going out a Hall of Famer. He was talking about not wanting to be too damaged for his kids. I think he has pretty young kids. I think he had kids like later in life. So I mean, hey man, listen, I'm gonna go glass half full there as far as the Jose Aldo conversation. Hats off.
Great career.
Fantastic career. And to extend his career down a weight class and give, good fights. Beating Cheeto Vera the way he did, that wasn't that long ago. And now everybody's on Cheeto's dick.
Great point.
So like that's the thing that makes me not like, oh, Cheeto's going out sad. Like, not Cheeto. You know what I'm talking about.
Aldo Cheeto, close enough.
I don't think Aldo's going out sad or going out whack or going out like a Cerrone. He's going out, top 5 in the world, top 4 in the world.
Yeah.
Lost a pretty, close. It's not like Marab beat the dog shit out of him or anything by any stretch of the imagination.
It was a boring fight. Neither guy could do anything because they were both so technically advanced. Like, neither guy was willing to take that risk because they both knew it'd be trouble.
I think there's still fun fight. I would still love to see Aldo Cruz. I think that would be sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think there's fights. But if gold is the end goal, and I think, you know what though, I may be giving him more credit than he's giving himself. I don't think it's that inconceivable, man. If Sean O'Malley can beat Peter Yan, then Aldo could beat Sean O'Malley. It's not that, I don't know, man. I wouldn't mind seeing it. And I'm usually the opposite. I usually can't wait to get these old guys out the door. But he was still fighting at such a high level. I'm not trying to dunk on him. I don't know, man. I don't even know how to feel about it. It almost feels like a guy, I don't want to say going out on top because he wasn't champ, but for example, I like where Aldo's at more than I like where Stipe's at, and Stipe's not retired, and so it's
good point.
There's kind of comparisons you can make, man, but I don't know, man. I think if Aldo wanted to keep fighting, he can. But what if Aldo's the one to beat up Jake Paul?
That'd be so good, man. Honestly, though, in all seriousness about the Jake Paul stuff, before we keep it pushing to the next fight, which Maria Agapova, she can, whatever. Well, she can wait. She can definitely wait. Biggest loser ever to be, odds-wise in the UFC, she can wait. That being said, I do think Aldo is the perfect example for older guys that couldn't develop their skill set of, he did evolve with mixed martial arts and kept getting better.
Aldo's was he MMA's Tom Brady? The ability to extend it out and change the, Brady's leaned up and changed his body and extended the career and changed locations. I think 135 Aldo was like Tampa Tom, you know what I'm saying?
I would say Yoel Romero, since that fool still fights pro at 45.
True, he's about to headline a Bellator card next week.
Is it not insane? But that guy's a physical freak of human nature, literally, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that
he's probably on all the gear, right?
You know what though? I don't know, because after the Dana White story about his tendons being 3 times thicker around his eyes, I'm like
he's an actual freak.
He's an actual mutant, yeah. And maybe
they exist, man. They exist.
They do, and with the Cuban system and the Russian involvement around his birth, I don't know what was happening. But
that's what makes it dicey.
You know what? It's dicey, but at the same time, I don't think he's not on the gear now, or actively. So it's just how do I even
he could be on that doctor prescribed TRT gear this point.
Well, in Bellator, I don't even know what they test for in Bellator like that.
That's well, the fact that it's Bellator is what's raising a little eyebrows for me, and like
eyebrows up.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man, but let's
keep it pushing. We'll push to this the girl that was minus 1,200 and lost. We'll push to her. She only has 2 losses, but one of them was minus 1,200. So what are you doing? Now, I will say that girl Maria Agapova is who I'm referencing, plus 135 against Jillian Robertson in the flyweight division, who's minus 155 favorite. Jillian Robertson's record is like 11-9. So if you're not a favorite against her, what does that tell you?
Well, man, all right. We've already expressed we're not very sentimental about this breakdown, so I'm not to spoil it all, like, in my prediction. Just kind of wrap it all up, like, all in one, kind of put a bow on it. So, like, I did pick on Agapova, whatever, and here's why. Obviously, I know if it becomes a grappling match, Robertson's going to win that grappling match. Like,
for sure.
Duh, for sure.
Yeah, that's all she can do.
Also, though, Jillian Robertson, the way she reacts when she gets hit hard in the face
is awful.
It's awful. I kind of got my cake and eat it too, but also got neither of those things because I did pick Agapova in my long shot parlay because there was a scenario where she starts hurting Robertson and Robertson just kind of folds. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
We've seen it happen. And Agapova does those straight shots, and she's a pretty good striker. So this fight was going to go one of two ways. I mean, I'm being Captain Obvious here, but it was going to be Agapova hurting and Robertson not reacting well to the strikes. Or, obviously, as we just said, like, if it gets to the mat, Robertson, I mean, easily, right by a mile. And that's what happened here. I mean, honestly, both happened, though. Like, Agapova, especially with the elbows and the clinch and the takedown defense elbows, which proved to bite her in the ass, but also almost won her the fight. I mean, Jillian Robertson was reacting horribly to those elbows. Oh, shit, it says it's going to cut us off in 10 minutes. Is there a way to stop that? Do we know what's happening with that?
Let's see. All right, so we'll start a new meeting after this. It's fine. We're going to run some technical difficulties here, fans. This is our first one.
We may need to get like paid Zoom or something.
Yeah, that's. I just had the upgrade. It's just we'll get it. I'll get it right after this for the next one. That way we don't have that problem.
Okay, yeah, no worries, bro. And we'll just, like I said, we can easily wrap up this breakdown in 9 minutes. We don't even have to rush. But I mean, so this fight does essentially get to the mat because Jillian Robertson, of course, was shooting takedowns. That's her only path to victory. And when she was shooting these takedowns, it was the double-edged sword, of blessing and a curse, man. Agapova she was defending with elbows that were landing and were hurting Jillian Robertson. And, I mean, she was maybe 3-4 elbows away from maybe getting a TKO. I mean, it was not
close.
Good.
And Robertson was not wearing those well, man. She was, once again, doing the thing you referenced in the start, which is, like showing hits in the worst way possible.
Yeah. And so, I mean, really both of my predictions took place at the same time. I mean, Robertson wasn't reacting well to the strikes. Agapova was inflicting more damage. And was almost, I'm copying and pasting everything I'm saying for round 1 and round 2 because they were identical. Agapova was defending takedowns with strikes, double-edged sword, blessing and a curse. What almost won her the fight is also what lost her the fight. Because eventually, if you're defending takedowns with strikes and they're not knocking out the opponent or severely damaging them, then you're eventually going to get taken down because you're not defending the takedown, like by definition. And that's what happened. And we said from the jump, if it gets to the mat, Robertson's going to win. And it got to the mat, therefore Robertson won. Like, that's exactly how it went down.
Yeah, that literally
rear naked choke, 2 minutes and 19 seconds to the second round.
Oddly enough, though, how'd you score the first? Because I did score the first to Agapova or Agapova.
Oh, yeah, just because of the damage, the elbows, 100%. But it was like kind of all for naught because that's that exact same thing that won her round 1 is what lost her the fight. So it's like I didn't really want to give her too many brownie points, but yeah, I didn't give it.
Also, kind of a scary finish in the way that Agapova spit out her mouthpiece and was literally almost foaming at the mouth by the time
He was foaming at the mouth. No, it was gnarly. It was an air choke, not a blood choke.
Right.
It took forever. So she was deprived of oxygen for a pretty solid amount of time. Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, definitely lost some brain cells there. I mean, definitely like give me a blood choke over an air choke any day. That
Yeah,
was
make me pass out. Don't make me spit up. Like Jesus.
no, it was gnarly. Like it was like I mean, that's one of those chokes where if it does go like 20 seconds longer, I mean, that can kill somebody for sure.
Yeah, and then that's why I said it was scary. Is like it's crossing on that line of like this could be very bad. Now, do I
Yeah.
ever think someone dies in the cage to a submission? No, I honestly don't.
No, no. I mean, honestly, you know what it would probably be is like a neck crank or just like a slam,
A
like we saw
slam on their
later in this
head, yeah.
card. Yeah,
Which we
yo,
see
like
one of those later in
we
this
see.
card where it's
That's
like,
what I'm
holy
saying.
shit.
Little sprinkle in there.
Yeah, a little
Little sprinkle of
sprinkle.
foreshadowing. But yeah, man, we'll wrap up this little segment. Sorry, we're new to this Zoom platform. We're new. We're trying out some new things, trying to upgrade the technology here on Beefy Boys Breakdown. So, bear with us. This is the first little one, which honestly, give me this over Facebook just not working any day.
Yeah.
Gives us a nice little timer, very convenient, courteous. Lets us know we can adapt. But for sure, man, we'll wrap up this little one, and then we'll be right back to break down the rest of the prelims and the main card of UFC Fight Night Sandhagen, Song Yadong. And if you haven't already, man, hit that subscribe. We break down, especially now that we're going straight to YouTube. We will not miss a week. We will break down every single card the day after the card. Worst case scenario Monday, and so that's why you should subscribe to this channel if you're a fight fan. And we'll be right back with more.
Smash that like. Smash that subscribe. We'll be back in 5. We're here.